A special Sunday edition of the Amped Up Show, and I've got spoilers. Smackdown 11/28/25, the Black Friday edition of the Blue Brand, one day after Thanksgiving. That show was fully taped after this week's live edition of Smackdown. So that show has already come and gone. BC has not seen the results yet. I have not heard anything on the spoilers to this show. So I thought, why not light up the microphone and we can go over these results live on the Amped Up Show. I figured if we're going to get amplified on this show anyway, why get amplified after the fact? We can do the damn deed together. So we're going to go over these results together, man. This is going to go really good, right? In a positive way. Maybe we're going to kind of get caught off guard. Maybe the doofus son-in-law accidentally put together a good show. We're about to find out. Or it's going to go the way that, unfortunately, I see it going. More things are not going to make sense. Nonsensical matches. Really bad booking. And when it's all said and done, now that it's the holidays, the doofus son-in-law's gift to all of us is still one big f*** you. Because that's what it's going to come down to with the doofus son-in-law. The gift of a good show or the gift of the middle finger. Because he cannot be bothered to put any thought into this. Especially around the holidays. If you thought it was bad enough for the rest of the year, now that the holidays are around, you think this dude is going to put any effort into these shows? But I could be. I could. Because I have not seen any of these results, I could be more than pleasantly surprised by these spoilers. We'll find out. It's coming up in today's huge Amped Up Sunday edition. And on the flip side, for All Elite Wrestling, they had a big Full Gear event this past Saturday night. Now, due to some travel delays and issues, I was not able to catch any of that show. So before I catch any of those matches, we're going to go over the results on today's show. Just like SmackDown spoilers, I have not heard anything about this show. So I literally don't even know who won the Hangman Adam Page versus Samoa Joe cage match for the title. Nothing! My girl Mercedes Moné! Did she conquer her quest and take Stat's belt? Don't know any of it, man. We're going to go over it together in this Amped Up Show. So spoilers for SmackDown, the results for Full Gear. BC don't know any of it, man. Let's get amplified. And I say we start off with the Blue Brand. Let's get SmackDown out of the way, because usually AEW does pay-per-views really good. So if that trend continues, we can at least end today's show on a positive note. WWE SmackDown, on the other hand, not so good. Now's the time to get your beverages. Grab your coffees. Let's get this thing started. Shout out to Cage Side, by the way, for this compilation. We started this week's SmackDown the day after Thanksgiving. Black Friday edition of the Blue Brand. Taped edition. We start with the, this can't be good. Last Time Is Now tournament starts the show. Jason Yeterman defeats Rusev via top rope splash. So Jey Uso defeats Rusev via splash. I think before I get to Jey Uso, what I want to do is focus on Rusev, because that's the most glaring issue when I read this spoiler. Why bring Rusev back to the company if you clearly don't have anything for him? If you clearly don't look at Rusev like a top guy or somebody you're going to do something with, why bring him back to the company unless it's just another jab at Tony Khan? Because we know Hunter Hearst Helmsley, the doofus son-in-law, loves to take any and all talent from Tony Khan. Doesn't matter if it's a big name like Cody Rhodes or CM Punk or a Jade Cargill and a Mariah May. or a Miro, an Andrade, a Ricky Starks, an Ethan Page, a Shawn Spears, they'll take you. They don't even have to have a plan. They stick a lot of them down in NXT for several years. Some, they go right to the roster like Andrade and Miro, and they have nothing for them. Until they somehow are begging to get back out of the company. Like Andrade, and who knows what Miro is thinking by now. But what are you doing with him? You know, I got irritated when he was under Vince McMahon, and every time I was like, dude, this is it. Strike while the iron is hot. Rusev and Lana could be something special, but Vince would always bring them to the dance, but never let them dance. That promo with The Rock in Brooklyn several years ago was so good. And I'm like, now's the time. Skyrocket Rusev and Lana. Never did anything with him. So Helmsley brings him back, and I'm like, all right, maybe now we can get the best out of Rusev, with or without Lana. And he's booked even worse under Hunter Hearst Helmsley. I'm probably not surprised by that anymore. But it still makes you take a step back and really go, damn, how is that possible? Rusev is losing to Dominic multiple times in the past couple of months. Another heel. And the way he is losing is via heel tactics. Low blow, roll-ups, interference. But I thought Rusev is the diabolical heel. You're supposed to make your fans look at Rusev and go, damn, he's badass. And he wants to win by any means necessary, whatever it takes. But no, here comes the little scrawny Dom. And Dominic Mysterio makes Rusev look like a chump, not a champ. It's yin-yang 50-50 booking. That is not fun for fans. It's not. It's not good for the wrestler, and it's not good for the fans. Guys, come on! Think about it. What has Rusev done the last couple of months? He's lost to Penta. He's lost a couple times to LA Knight. That must have been by accident, by the way. LA Knight picked up a couple W's. LA Knight a couple of times. Penta. Jey Uso a couple of times if you want to add that Battle Royal. Dominic Mysterio a couple of times. So a ton of losses the last couple of months. And then he squeaks out a win. Was it last week against Damian Priest? So you're thinking, a W. Maybe this is where the tide turns. And then the very next week, he loses via a splash to Jason Uso. So he beats Damian Priest, and then he loses to Jason Uso. There's no consistency. This is what is called 50-50 booking. And I've been watching, viewing, critiquing pro wrestling for decades. And I can tell you right now, one thing is tried and true. 50-50 booking has never worked for any professional wrestler. It has never been a benefit. It's only been a detriment. We got to get to the rest of these results. I don't know how much was packed into this show. So, again, I don't want to go 3 hours. It's a Sunday edition. Now you guys want to get to your football. I got to check out on my Packers. But Jey Uso over Rusev, top rope splash. Yep, that's believable. But Jey Uso continues to have superpowers. And again, shout out to Cage Side for this compilation. Backstage segment, SmackDown's general manager Nick Aldis approached by The Miz, who lobbies to replace the injured Sheamus in the Last Time Is Now tournament. Aldis drew a random ball, but while he was distracted by R-Truth, Miz swapped the name inside. When Aldis opens up the slip, it reveals Miz's name. Miz acts surprised. Okay, so let me digest this. So I'm guessing R-Truth was in Aldis's office cracking more ball jokes, right? Because this is what Helmsley has degraded and relegated R-Truth to. His personal comedy act. His comedy clown. So R-Truth, who had all the momentum in the world this past summer, and Helmsley got embarrassed because Nick Khan told him we're bringing him back. There was too much backlash when we cut him loose. Oh, Helmsley didn't like that, so what happened? He went right to catering. Stayed there. Until he was told to come out dressed as Santa Claus and now cracking ball jokes for the third straight week. This is the third straight SmackDown that he has been cutting ball jokes backstage. That's your R-Truth, everybody. Because that's how Helmsley sees him. So that's the first glaring thing I see in this spoiler. R-Truth is going to be back there trying to do some more really bad comedy. Not even any fault of his own. WWE making him look like a fool. And then The Miz. Now that I'm really comprehending this, The Miz is taking Sheamus's spot. Wow. So let me get this right. Sheamus, they announced, is out of this thing this past week. So for those that are not going over spoilers, didn't hear any results, they tune in on Friday night. And that maybe they're a little excited. Who could it be? Who is replacing Sheamus? And they start going, it could be Joe Hendry. It could be maybe Tony Khan allowed WWE to have Adam Copeland. That would never happen, by the way. But maybe fans are thinking, like, who could it be? And they're trying to be excited. And then they get The Miz. The Miz, who's already lost, by the way, in this tournament last week. You know, when you run a podcast like this, when you have a show like this, it's not often I'm at a loss for words. Especially, you guys know, I can go up to an hour or way past an hour every episode, talking these stories, these topics, discussions, news, updates. But this is truly one of those moments where you try to comprehend this, and you're almost at a loss for words. Like, what are you truly doing with R-Truth? Is this honestly the best you could do with R-Truth? Especially with all the momentum he had this summer. And this is Hunter Hearst Helmsley's best creative for one of the biggest stories of the summer. Ball jokes. Cracking ball jokes. 3 straight weeks. And before that, dressing up as Santa Claus for Halloween. To try to get a giggle. Did you giggle? I'm glad. If you giggled, maybe it was worth a damn. And then on top of that, Miz is the big surprise. He's all they could muster up. After Sheamus goes down, this is where you think you'd have fun, get creative. Sucks to see what happened with Sheamus, but damn, let's really start to make this tournament as fun as we possibly can. Because you guys know this tournament sucks. We already knew it was John Cena versus Gunther. Everybody knew it was Gunther Cena. But Helmsley couldn't be bothered to give us a story because that means you would have to care about this. You would have to put effort into it. It would take time. So they said, no, we're just going to do a tournament. That's the story. Gunther wins a tournament. What do you mean you're not invested to see Cena versus Gunther? What do you mean that doesn't excite you? Yes, it's the same guy that lost in 8 seconds to his own submission to a guy that only hits the gym 4 times a year, Jay Ederman, the dancing twin. Yes, Gunther looked like an absolute idiot, a clown at WrestleMania, losing to Jey Uso in 8 seconds to his own move. And yes, then he went and picked on commentators, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, and then he went away for a couple months. He was so embarrassed. But now he's taking on John Cena. What do you mean you don't care? You mean we botched Gunther's booking all of 2025? Yeah, when he came back last week and they're chanting Walter, I think you've lost the room. You gotta read the room, and then you gotta know when you've lost the room. Yeah, you've botched Gunther incredibly. And you wonder why nobody cares? And then you don't even bother to give a storyline between Gunther and Cena. You had Cena for Boston. You had him for NYC MSG. You had him for Survivor Series. You wanted to do nothing with Gunther and John Cena. Gunther will just win a tournament. So this tournament has sucked. Your big surprises? Dolph Ziggler from TNA. And who was the other one? Who else? Zachary Ryder, a dude that said he would never be Zack Ryder again. He's now an indie god. Matt Cardona. What an indie god is, who knows, who cares? Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you went around the U.S. or outside the U.S. and you hit up every single bingo hall and you became a god in your own mind. Nobody cares. That's why Helmsley or Tony Khan or anybody, they don't care about a Matt Cardona. If you're coming back as Zachary. That's what Helmsley told Matthew Cardona. The guy who said I would never come back as Zachary Ryder. And Helmsley's like, well, then you ain't coming back. And Matthew was like, whoa, I don't even know what a Cardona is. All right, Zack Ryder, you win. Zack Ryder comes back and Dolph Ziggler. That's your big surprises. Sheamus is out. Maybe you have a big surprise. No, it's Miz. And that's what you have to look forward to. I say it all the time. When you do a tape show, especially, you have to put together a show that people are most likely going to read the results or hear about them. But it's so good, now they have to see it. It's the reason that Universal Studios and Walt Disney World, they allow people to go into their parks and record video. A lot of them you can record rides, all of it. And you're thinking, why isn't there not a ban on that? How is that allowed? You can go into all these parks and you can take all the video and post it. They don't care. Why? Because it's free advertisement, man. Because that's one of those situations where you can't just see it. You have to experience it. You can't just watch a video of Space Mountain. You gotta ride Space Mountain. You see the results. You gotta experience that. You gotta see when Tony Schiavone was told by Eric Bischoff to give the results that Mick Foley is winning their championship, and Tony Schiavone said the words, yeah, that'll put a lot of butts in seats. Oh, but it did. From that moment on, WWF started beating WCW. People actually wanted to see Mick Foley conquer the quest at the mountaintop. You got to give the audience something that they can't just see or read. They have to experience it. And you think our truth-telling ball jokes backstage and The Miz having a second match in a BS tournament, you think that's bringing people to the yard? You think that's bringing in viewers? If you're wondering, the very next thing I'm seeing here, Last Time Is Now tournament. So I guess that's right after this backstage segment. LA Knight defeats The Miz with a BFT. I would say, obviously, it's The Miz, but it's LA Knight. So I would not have been shocked if I saw Miz defeated LA Knight. I wouldn't have been shocked. LA Knight defeats The Miz. So what are you saying, right? This whole thing, the backstage segment, a couple of commercials, the match itself, I bet you all of this took at least, bare minimum, 25 to 30 minutes. A fourth of your show. And you're telling me this is entertainment, guys? Guys, I'm being serious, man. This is a primetime show on Friday night. And there are enough people in the community that'll blow smoke up Helmsley's ass and say this is good. This is a decent show. I think this was a good show this week. I do. And here's why. Everybody grab your beverages. We're going to talk about how this was a good show this week. And then there's BC that rolls in. Usually I'm last to review these things as well. Save the best for last, right? You get your appetizers first, your salads, because everybody else trying to talk this pro wrestling thing, they're salad. BC is your Wagyu beefsteak. I'm the main entree, the main course. Because I'm the only one telling the truth, being the most amplified in honesty with these shows. While everybody else tries to fiddle the balls of the doofus. Oh, you know what? That wasn't even right after that backstage segment. Hold on. So before that, guys, there was an in-ring segment. Okay. So there was the backstage segment with Miz, R-Truth, Aldis. And before the actual LA Knight beating the Miz match, there was an in-ring segment with WWE Women's United States and AAA World Mixed Tag Team Champion Chelsea Green, accompanied by Alba Fire. They came out to celebrate her recent championship success as she counted down to fireworks displays. Because she didn't get the fireworks. I do like how she's bringing that up and making that a thing. So she's in there, she's counting down to a fireworks display, and then women's champion Jade Cargill interrupted. What the heck? They're going to set up a tag team with Jade, Chelsea, and Alba? For what, a 6-woman? Keep reading, BC. So women's champion Jade Cargill interrupts, flooring Fire with a pump kick. Green tries to escape, but Cargill caught her and dropped the double champ with Jaded. How does any of this make sense? Jade Cargill is a heel! She's a heel. Is she not a heel? Hold on, I gotta comprehend this. I gotta make sure that I have my own facts in order here. Jade Cargill's a heel, correct? But Chelsea Green and Alba Fire are heels. And wait a second, Chelsea just beat Julia 2 weeks ago. Julia is a heel. And Kiana James is a heel. And Julia lost her title in less than 2 minutes, and she got out-heeled her. You guys remember, Chelsea had her feet on the ropes. So not only did Julia lose to another heel, Chelsea, just like Rusev, they completely look like clowns because they got out-heeled. And then Julia hasn't been seen since. Everybody's like, don't worry, basically, there's a story attached to this. No, there's not. She's going to go away for a while. And when she comes back, we're not going to forget how she just lost the title. So Julia and Kiana James were for some reason in a match with Chelsea Green and got out-heeled by Green and Alba. And now, 2 weeks later, Jade Cargill, who is a heel, is dropping Chelsea and Alba, the heels that out-heeled Julia and Kiana. Are you guys keeping track? Guys, there's not one face at all involved with anything to do with the United States Championship for the ladies. It's just heel versus heel and heels beating up heels. How is this okay with you? Have you lowered the bar so badly that this is acceptable? I say it all the time. I know there's so many fans where this is not acceptable, but they tapped out a while ago. I know that. It's like they know this is bad, but they don't want to stop watching. So they're like, BC, I hear you. You're 1,000,000,000% correct, and I feel the same way. But I can't do it anymore, BC. I'm just going along for the ride, man. Whatever Helmsley's putting out there, BC, I just got to do it. I just got to take it. Because they feel defeated. They don't want to stop watching. But it's like, it's so bad, they can no longer just question it. Because it's exhausting. Downright depressing. So I know a lot of fans tapped out and they just stopped even thinking about faces and heels because that's what Helmsley wants you to do. Stop thinking about it because then you're going to question it and realize how bad this is. He doesn't like that. If you question the product, you're questioning Helmsley, the doofus son-in-law. And when you question the doofus son-in-law, you're not a real fan. You can fuck off. That's what he told you to do. He's been telling us to do that his whole career as a wrestler and now with his little suit jacket on. But now that he has power, Now he feels emboldened to just tell us flat out to fuck off. Don't tap out, guys. Keep his ass to the coals, man. Keep this dude honest. You have to make him raise his bar. Do not lower yours. Guys, this is unacceptable. You know this, man. Why is Chelsea beating Julia? That's fine if you want the title on Chelsea. Do this in a proper way, man, where you don't make Julia look like an absolute tool bag. And you're not doing a heel versus a heel, by the way. And then, it doesn't even set up a face versus a heel. Jade Cargill, who just turned heel, is dropping Chelsea and Alba, the heels. And it's happening all the time. We just went over Rusev and Dominic, and there's so many times. Gunther making Bronson Reed look like a fool several months ago. Bronson Reed, right? You should want your fans to look at Bronson Reed like a beast. No, let's have our other heel, Gunther, beat him. And then you saw what they did with Gunther afterwards. So what was the win over Bronson for? Why are we seeing face versus face matches all the time? Why are we seeing heel versus heel matches all the time when it's clearly, this isn't just BC saying it, we now have enough of a sample size where you guys now are seeing for yourselves this helps none of these wrestlers. It only hurts them. It is not a benefit, it's a detriment. So why are we doing this? I have the answer. Helmsley has no clue what he is doing, and he doesn't even care. He doesn't care to find out. I swear, I'm not even joking. I think this dude has a little roster page, and he just starts making a bunch of randomness. He doesn't remember what happened last week or even yesterday. He doesn't remember a thought for tomorrow or next week. It is minute to minute, moment to moment for Helmsley. That's why he books for the pop. He's moment to moment. I say it all the time. There's a term, long-term storytelling, and the term long-term booking. And when Helmsley hears that, he curls up in a ball, thumb in mouth, and he honestly rocks back and forth in a corner somewhere. Curls up in a ball, hides in a corner, thumb in mouth, when he hears the term long-term booking. Doesn't know what it means, doesn't want to. He just knows that's a very bad term, long-term booking. No! Earmuffs! So he has a roster page, and he doesn't care who's face, who's heel. He doesn't even want to remember. I don't even know if he can remember. Maybe there's cognitive issues. So everyone on the WWE roster at any moment can be having matches, quote, stories. I use that loosely because that would mean you'd have to have a story. This company doesn't do that. But at any moment, heel versus heel, face versus face, and it doesn't even matter. You're splitting your audience, or the audience doesn't even care because who are we cheering for? Chelsea's doing dastardly things, but Jade Cargill just did dastardly things and told us to F off. And so what do we do? Is this a match where we just yell, "This is awesome"? Right? We don't know who we're going for, but we're just going to make noise because that's what we do because we're an ADHD crowd. I mean, that's what Michael Cole said this past Friday, right? Who was it? Who was it? Was it Dragunov and JD McDougalburger? JD McDougalburger is a heel. Dragunov is now a face. And Michael Cole in this match goes, the crowd, the fans are showing their appreciation for both of these wrestlers. Or superstars, whatever he said. The fans are showing their appreciation for both. What do you mean? He's a heel. Why would you say that on commentary? The fans are loving the work of JD McDougalburger. I said this in the review. Could you imagine if Stone Cold was taking on Vince McMahon and Jim Ross was like, the fans are showing their appreciation for both of these superstars. They're loving what Vince McMahon is doing right now. What? Who's the heel, man? So even when you have a face versus a heel match, they want you to look at the heel like he's a crowd favorite too. Just make noise. Nothing needs to make sense in WWE. Yeah, this was a side rant because it pisses me off. We just got done with Chelsea and Julia. You don't even have the time to put an effort into thinking, hey, maybe we want a face in this match. Maybe a face should be doing something with Chelsea, or a face should be doing something with Julia. And they botched it. So then what do? They keep digging their own grave even deeper. And they say, hey, Jade Cargill, you go out there and beat up Chelsea and Alba now. The whole heel roster, send Lash Legend and Nia Jax out there to start beating up heel Jade Cargill again. It's so bad. It is so bad. And you think on this channel, I'm just going to sit back and let it flow? I'm just going to let it slide? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, man. We got to see Chelsea and Jade at least on the show. Oh, BC, I hear you, man, but it's, you know what I mean. It's the holidays. Why even? Let's not harp on it, BC. Let's talk about what was next. Yeah, let's do that. Because, again, then it was LA Knight beating Miz. Then we went into a War Games advantage match. The hell is this? Okay, so Charlotte Flair, it says, defeated Asuka with natural selection. Let me comprehend this. Okay, so Charlotte Flair defeated... Oh, whoa. Again? How many times has Charlie defeated Asuka? You would think after Asuka did the ultimate deed at WrestleMania several years ago. You guys remember when Asuka had that streak? And Asuka won the Rumble, and Asuka should have won the title at Mania, but they were so keen, hell-bent on making Charlie Flair the women face of the company. And here we are all these years later, by the way, and it still hasn't worked. They had to put her with Alexa Bliss and Rhea Ripley and Io to try to pop the crowd in favor of Charlie. But do you guys remember? They had Asuka lose. The streak was done. She failed to get the title because they put Charlie over instead at WrestleMania. And then Charlie went on to beat Asuka several more times. So you're telling me at the end of 2025, Asuka has to look up at the lights again for Charlie? A simplistic natural selection, and that's the best creative you have. Let's move on. I don't even want to right now. I'm not doing this with Charlie and Asuka. I'm not doing this again. Survivor Series elimination match. I guess this is the main event because there's nothing after this in the spoilers. So this is your main event, traditional Survivor Series matchup. Solo, Sikoa, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Tala Tonga, Tonka Truck, and who knows who else. Oh, and JC Mateo. What is that, like 100 people? What is that? Solo, Tama, Tonga, Tala, JC. Okay, that is 5. Versus the Motor City Super Soakers, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Raymond Phoenix. Solo Sikoa emerges as the sole survivor and the victor, last eliminating Sami Zayn. Zayn goes for a haluva kick. Sikoa stops him with a super kick. Sikoa then with a Samoan spike, but Zayn rolled him up for a near fall. Oh, so he went for the Samoa spike. Zayn dodges it, rolls him up. Sikoa kicks out. As they both get up, Sikoa then catches Zayn with a spike that lands, and Solo scores the W. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do this stupid match, absolutely the heels have to win, especially if you're trying to eventually do something with the Wyatts, which, by the way, it says here, after the match, the Wyatt Six return. Sikoa confronts them. Bo Dallas, Uncle Howdy, appears and hits Sikoa with Sister Abigail. So some more 50-50 booking, right? Sikoa looks dominant. He's the sole victor. And then moments later, he's looking up at the lights. So another version of 50-50 booking. But at least faces. What a concept. Even though we had to turn the Wyatts in the faces. But whatever, man. Helmsley is clueless when it comes to the Wyatts. But he's clueless with most, if not the entire roster. So that's not a surprise. But at least this isn't the Judgment Day taking out Solo Sikoa and his MFTs. Do you see now why so many fans are frustrated with Hunter Hearst Helmsley and his lack of giving a damn, his lack of creative, his lack of effort, his lack of care, his lack of knowledge, his lack of everything for these shows. If the best you have is after the match, howdy, give a Sister Abigail to Solo. Could you imagine people if he is in the writer's room? I know that would be a miracle. But if Paul Levesque McMahon's in the writer's room and that's what he decides, and all the writers and everybody around him is like, okay, and what next, Paul? What next? And Doofus' son-in-law is like, what do you mean, what's next? Did you not hear the amazing creative I just said? After the match, the Wyatts will go out. And howdy will Sister Abigail Solo. So what do you mean, what next? That's the best creative you're going to find in the business. Could you imagine the people in the room going, yeah, you might need more than that. But of course, they won't say that. It'll bruise the ego of Helmsley McMahon. So they do as they're told. They go out there and they do as they're told. And the show ends, and that's it. Helmsley's like, just have the Sister Abigail put my name up in the credits, fade to black, and everybody's going to be talking about, what a banger the show was. Do you see that this is something that somebody in the 0 to 12 demo, which is who they're booking for, we understand this, but they can book any of this with a crayon and their coloring book. Anybody! You could be 8, 9, 10! In your coloring book, you could go, howdy, then Sister Abigail's Solo. Period. Show ends. That's your creative in World Wrestling Entertainment, and you thought BC's just going to let it slide. I'm just going to let it go. Let's try to find some more positives, guys. Hey, we got to see the Wyatts. Hey, let's spend 10 minutes talking about how we got to see the Wyatts. It was good to see Uncle back. And I'm supposed to fake enthusiasm to see MFTs versus Wyatts. It's their job to make me excited for that. If this is supposed to do it, and fans like BC, which is the majority of that 18 to 49 demo, if we're being honest. No, this is not going to... Who? If this show goes off the air Friday, and that is indeed the final segment, who, when the show goes off the air, is going, oh man, whoa! Did you see that? Dudes! Get over here! You're not even going to believe this, man! Solo just got Sister Abigail. Howdy came back. I can't wait for this match. When is this? Dude, is this going to be... No, they're not doing it at Survivor Series. It might be like Saturday night's main event, maybe. Maybe the Rumble. I don't even know. I can't even wait till next Friday. How am I going to even hold my suspense? I'm so excited. I have to go get some fresh air. Dudes, you guys want to get a coffee? I need fresh air. This is wild. No, he just got Sister Abigail. Yeah, that's why I don't know why you were not watching. He literally, after the match, Howdy showed up, Sister Abigail, Paul Levesque McMahon, Artificial Intelligence, Lee Fitting, their name popped up and we went off the air. Dude, I am wilding out right now. I'm like shaking, dude. My eyes twitching. I can't believe what just happened. Yeah, he got him hooked, dropped him. And he was looking up at the lights, man. It was Sister Abigail. Howdy on Solo. Oh, they'll show the replay online. Don't worry. Give it like 10 minutes, dude. It'll be everywhere. Oh, I'm shaking, dude. It was amazing. Yeah, do you see? Do you see how stupid that sounds? No grown adult is getting excited for this. This show's going to go off the air, and it's going to be what we always do. Maybe the remote's in your hand, but you're just like, it fades to black, it starts a new show, and you're thinking, what just happened with the last 2 hours of life? Is this the best way I could have utilized 2 hours on a Friday night, mind you? And I stuck around for the whole 2 hours so that I could see Solo get Sister Abigailed. Oh my goodness. Shaking with excitement. That is your SmackDown, guys. That's Do you want a quick recap? I guess we could do that real quick. You had Jey Uso pin Rusev. LA Knight defeats The Miz. Charlie defeats Asuka. And MFTs defeat a bunch of random jobbers. And Jade Cargill beat up another heel, Chelsea, who got that title by beating a heel, Julia. This, and there's people that'll go, oh, that Beasley, he's so harsh. He's a harsh, negative reviewer. He's a harsh critic. Harsh or honest? I have no problem with harsh, but don't forget honest. I'm honest. This is the show. This is what we're getting, man. When I say zero creativity, that's not just a cute thing I put in the headlines or on a thumbnail. I mean zero creativity. We're going to get some coffee. We're going to get into some AEW Full Gear results. I have not seen or heard anything about this show, by the way. Travel issues, travel delays even, which sucked. But before I even catch any of the matches that I definitely want to see, we're going to go over the results. And we're going to do that on the Amped Up Show. So let me get some coffee, and we'll do the deed, man. AEW Full Gear 2025. All right, we'll stick main show. Let's start off. And Pac defeated Darby Allin. Wheeler Yuta with the distraction, Pac with a bat. And Darby Allin is defeated by Pac. Oh, man. Hold on. Let me comprehend this. No. Man, I know a lot of you guys are probably like, right decision, BC. It's the right decision. Pac needed that one. I totally understand where you're coming from. And I don't even disagree a bit with that. Not with the Darby Allin, not with this whole feud. This thing has been going on for a while with Darby and the Riders, by the way. But it's Darby and Mox, man. Like, that's got to be the definitive end. You would think this has gone on for so long. And the way Tony Khan speaks about Darby Allin, he's one of the key dudes in the company. And I remember just a few weeks ago, the prison phones, remember? And Darby Allin is talking to Mox face to face with the glass between them in the prison phones. And Darby just gets annihilated by the Riders right in front of Mox. And I just cannot see now, a few weeks later, and Pac is losing to basically third in command, right? You got Mox, you got Claudio, and then Pac. If Darby's losing to Pac, then Claudio can whoop him, and then by the time you get to Mox, where's the intrigue? I don't know about this, man. I'm all for building up Pac and him needing a big W. What? Darby was just on fire last week. Tony Khan is talking about Darby like something very special. He's kicking off the show and he's losing. I don't know about that, man. That is a very questionable decision. The Timeless Love Bombs then defeated Babes of Wrath, Sisters of Sin, in Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir. I can't stand these names. I do like Willow a lot, but Babes of Wrath. And I like Toni Storm, obviously, man. Character work, probably some of the best you're going to see from the females of 2025. Even most of the dudes. And her and Shirakawa, I totally get them eventually getting tag titles. I get it. But Timeless Love Bombs and Babes of Wrath, Sisters of Sin. I don't know. That's probably the least worst out of all of them. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of how I saw that going. Toni Storm and Shirakawa are taking the whole thing anyway. So, yeah. Unless, I mean, again, this is props to Cage Side for the compilation. And these are just quick results, so there's not too much info with it. So unless something really big happened, I mean, this is pretty much status quo. I have no problem with it. AEW Tag Team Championship. FTR defeated Brodito. Yes. This may be an unpopular decision for a lot. I hear you. I don't agree with you. FTR, man. It is time we start treating FTR like what they are. One of the best teams in the world, bro. I don't know what has happened. There's this, like, feel that like, oh, FTR, there they are again. Oh, roll my eyes. It's FTR. They're so boring or this or that. What the heck? FTR, man. They're badass. And they can help carry stories if you give it to them. I see a lot more ups and positives with FTR than negatives. So yeah, that's a pretty big moment, man. FTR hoisting those tag titles. Then Ricochet wins the Casino Gauntlet for the new AEW National Championship. One of about 144 titles in AEW for Tony Khan, but an accomplishment nonetheless. And listen, in a week where we all just had to witness Maxi Pad Dupree hoist up a title, you will hear no complaints from BC hearing about Ricochet hoisting up a championship. I am more than okay with that on a week like this. And then it says Kyle O'Reilly defeated Jon Moxley. Huh. Now that one I'm going to have to take a moment on, guys. I have to digest that and try to find out more. Because again, these are quick results. I guess he tapped out. Kyle O'Reilly taps out Jon Moxley. What does it say? Had a steel chain, I guess? I don't even... Isn't this the same finish as last week at Blood and Guts? Wasn't that O'Reilly as well? Tapping out Jon Moxley over a pile of glass. So kind of the same type of a finish 1 week later at the pay-per-view. Wow, I don't know if I'm on board with this call. I know a lot of people don't like seeing Mox win all the time. You guys are more than okay with this, more than likely. I just don't understand this. The middle of the show, and Mox is tapping out yet again. Man, you have to be careful. I don't understand this, man. Like it wasn't long ago where Darby and Mox were really being poised for something special. I know it's been dragged on for so long. But my point is the position of these two, and just to see them both losing both matches nowhere near the main event. I don't know. I'm gonna have to comprehend that a little bit more, and more than anything, I'm gonna have to definitely make sure. It was one of the matches I was gonna make sure I catch anyway, but now I really have to, because I think I have to get a better sense of how this all went down. But that's a very odd choice. Again, I know a lot of the fan base is going to love that because Mox lost. But we have to be careful, you know? I mean, Kyle O'Reilly a couple of times now. I don't know. We'll see. That'll have to have an asterisk for now, man. You have to go back on that one. TNT Championship. Mark Briscoe defeated Kyle Fletcher. That's one of those feel-good moments, man. If I have the time, because there's already several matches that I definitely want to catch. But if I have the time, I definitely want to see that, especially with that moment. Especially for Mark Briscoe. What a... Man, with his brother and everything, what a moment for him. You talk about coming full circle, the whole journey that Mark Briscoe has taken. Kyle Fletcher, just watching him lose that time. He's such a... Character-wise, by the way. Very good character work, but he's such a douche. That him dropping that title, that's got to be a feel-good moment for everybody. Wow, big. Congrats to Mark Briscoe. $1 million match. Young Bucks and Josh Alexander defeated the Jurassic Express and Kenneth Omega. Omega will not have that million. He has plenty anyway, guys. Don't worry. He's a founder. A founding father with the Bucks of AEW. He'll be fine. Oh, it says here, too, the Young Bucks realigned with Kenny Omega. So the Bucks are back with Omega. So Omega turned heel or the Bucks turned face? No, I'm guessing the Bucks turned face and realigned with Omega. Gotta see that too. All right. You guys know how big I am on Omega and Bucks New Japan status. Or shall I say pre-AEW. I don't want to just centralize that to New Japan. But Young Bucks and Omega were on top of the wrestling world, and they were doing it without the WWE bubble. And that's what really ignited AEW into something like a company. And then I just feel like when AEW started, man, we never got a really solid version of Kenny Omega. And we never got that version of the Young Bucks. AEW kind of neutered Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. And I really feel that EVP status is what neutered them. So it's through no fault of anybody, technically. Not Tony Khan for sure. They're EVPs. They helped to create this company. So of course they're EVPs. But I think when all is said and done, if they haven't already, I think they're going to admit, they're going to come to the realization that being EVPs and being the leaders of a company, maybe it was too much. Maybe they just wanted to be pro wrestlers. So maybe this, if I'm reading this correctly, and the Bucks are reunited with Omega, maybe one last run here where we can get some of that old school Bucks and Omega. Then the AEW Women's World Title match. Wow. Chris Statlander defeats Mercedes Moné. Wow, man. Mercedes was on a run. She was on a streak and it got derailed by Stat. And Stat defeated Tony too, so they're really giving Stat the rocket, man. No, man, I know, like a lot of you guys, I like Stat too. I'm still just I'm on the fence if she checks off every single box. But Tony Khan feels she does because, damn, she's taking out all of the time. Tony, Mercedes. That's huge, man. Mercedes was on a run. There was a very good chance she could hoist that title up. I'm not saying it's the wrong decision, by the way, either. If you're new to the channel, BC is a massive supporter of Mercedes. I know that's a hot take these days because everybody seems to hate Mercedes Moné. Nobody can stand her run, what she's doing, her 100 championships. I get it. But back when she was Sasha Banks even, I just always looked at her as the common denominator in everybody's best match. So it's like I couldn't help but give props because she's so good at what she does. So, man, to see a result like that, Chris Statlander defeats Mercedes Moné. Definitely going to have to check that out, see how it was done, and then we'll talk more about it in future episodes. The main event was the World Championship for the dudes, man. We know that. Cage match, Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page. Samoa defeated Page. Wow, so Samoa is your new AEW champion of this world. Hangman. I just took a moment there to really think about Hangman's title reign like that. I totally get it, Samoa Joe. You could do so much with this, but Hangman tried everything under the sun to make that title prestigious. He really did. Every time he was out there, even if it was just a promo, you could tell how much pride he had holding that title. And so every performance I saw with Hangman, you could just tell he wasn't taking it for granted. So it kind of sucks for him, not kind of. It fully sucks for this dude to have to drop that title. I guess Hook clocked Page with the title, man. So Hook back with Joe then. So a heel turn. And then Swerve came out to end the show, fending off the heels. I think that's how I'm reading this. Again, I'm going from the quick results and I'm trying to dig in a little bit, guys. So, again, once I actually watch these matches, we can talk about them more in future episodes. But I guess that's what I'm seeing, man. Hook clocked Page. So Hook does the deed there, man. Does Hangman filthy. And then Swerve returns. Always good seeing Swerve. So you had a turn. You had a return. A new champion. Helmsley's probably banging his head right now in Stamford, Connecticut at WWE headquarters. It's everything he loves, but it was all in one segment. A turn, a return, a title change. Tony Khan said, hold my coffee. Show Helmsley how it's done, man. We could do all your little bells and whistles in one segment and use the rest of the show to be creative. That's funny. So there you have it, man. BC's first time going through these results because I was not able to see the show yet, and that's some of the things that stick out. Yeah, Samoa Joe winning the title, man. I definitely got to see that. But Mercedes losing that match to Stat. Really want to see how that was done. Darby, it says again that Wheeler caused a distraction, and I guess there was a bat involved, but I still don't get it. I have to see kind of the match and how it all flowed. And then Mox tapping out again to Kyle O'Reilly. These are results that I really have to see how the match all flowed, see the story of the match, and then maybe I'll understand it a little better. But new tag team champions, pretty cool. Love seeing FTR hoist up the gold. I have nothing wrong with that. You got a new champion in Ricochet, national champion. You got Mark Briscoe. What a moment for him. Sounds like another good event, man. If you guys saw it, I'd love to know how you felt about Full Gear, but it sounds... See what I mean? This is what you want to do. When you have your audience read or hear spoilers or results, you want them to go, I have to now experience this. Like, I have to see it now. We shouldn't, read something or hear about something and go, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to spend a minute on this. We shouldn't have to do that. That's what I'm saying. It's night and day difference. SmackDown, we just read the spoilers and we're like, oh my God. I feel like they have to pay us to watch that for 2 hours, let alone 2 minutes. And then you hear about this show and you're like, damn, now I understand this was a pay-per-view as opposed to a SmackDown. I get it. But you have to draw your audience in. If you're WWE and you're taping a show, you got to make it so good that they can't just read about it. They have to now see it. And if you're a pay-per-view, they run the pay-per-view reruns the whole week following. So you still want people to buy the pay-per-view even when it's over. Well, how do you do that when the results are out there? You make the show so good that they read the results and then they go, damn it, I still have to pay the $50 because now I have to see it. Guys, that's your special Sunday edition, your weekend edition of Amped Up. A lot of fun for BC because I did not know anything about SmackDown or Full Gear. So to go over these results live on air on the show, just a lot of fun, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun as well. Very unique way to do the show, man. So, yeah, pretty cool. Until next time, and there will be that next time, the unit, BC saying check you. Salute.